All right, hello everyone. This is the Pacific Raceways or Pacific Grand Prix. It's the SCCA Majors race in Kent, Washington, and a pretty big field here. We're in T4, so we're some of the slower cars in the field, but we have GTL, STL, Production, and T4. So we have number 15, 49, and then myself are the three cars in T4, and we've sort of brought our A game. We're all trying to one up each other. So we when we race each other, we sometimes take it a little too seriously. But we're all invested in racing clean. So let's get this started. At the start of the race is going to be a little bit busy, but we all want to make sure you just get a good takeoff. I do have a friend who's on the radio saying green, 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 but I generally don't. I rarely have somebody on the radio, so it was a really nice luxury to have this weekend. That Civic, boy, he got a run. Sometimes on the start, this is turn two, you'll have a really good opening on the outside. Everybody's trying to vie for the inside, so if you can find a gap on the outside, it gives you a chance to overtake a lot of cars. 15's taking the inside. The inside's pretty strong here through 3A. And then since he's following two cars that are going to essentially hit each other here, Tink, he has to choose which one he really wants to be behind. Alright, so I don't have an option here. 49 has the run out of 3B. I need to make sure that I keep a little bit of an eye on my mirror because I have an out-of-class car that's faster than me. And so I want to make sure that if and when he does overtake me, it's not going to be in a way that screws up my race. So either I need to choose to let him by in a way that's advantageous for the both of us, or I just need to stick him behind me, whether he likes it or not, so that it doesn't ruin my ability to have my race. Alright, track out, white line. You don't need to come all the way over left here. You just want to set up enough for turn 9 here because of how bumpy it is. If you pinch it too tight, the bumps can upset the car and make you loose. So you just want to set up for it in a way that allows you to manage the bumps. Approaching turn 1, not sure why the Toyota's so slow in a straight line. Usually he's a rocket ship in a straight line. His tires are just slow until they're warm, so that's catching us a bit off guard. But yeah, you see he goes through the corner here pretty well. We're all on A7s. It's a pretty cool day. And these cars are pretty friendly to pretty friendly on tire temperature. So we usually don't switch over to R7s until it's north of 85 degrees ambient. Sometimes even 90 degrees. One of the things that we found is interesting between the two tires is that the A7s will tend to be fast until they cord. It's almost like they don't cycle out. They're just fast until you don't have rubber to race on anymore. Assuming you can keep them underneath their temperature threshold, meaning racing on a day that's below 85 degrees or 80 degrees. But an R7 tends to drop its performance after a certain number of heat cycles when there's still half of its usable rubber left in the tire. It might stop being fast after, I don't know, depending on who you talk to, 6, 8, 10 cycles, but then it might still have another 10 cycles after that. Then, what do you use them for? Testing, practice days, sell them, I don't know, throw them away. So it was nice to find an A7, especially racing in the Northwest where we do a lot of racing where it's not super hot outside. Alright, I digressed enough here. Unfortunately for that Mustang there, he had engine problems, he needed to slow down, but that thing's pretty much a rocket ship. And the traffic has really helped us out here. All I had to do was stay clean and stay behind 49, not do anything stupid, not go side by side unnecessarily. And then we could stay up with the 15. So my goal right now is to not battle 49. It's to stay with him so we both can stay with 15. When it gets to be the last, few laps in the race, then we can fight for the position. But what we really want to do is play stay with the leader. Alright, so that's a fourth gear section back there. That's turns 5A, B, and 6. And those curbings that we're driving over, they used to be massive. It used to be like 2 feet tall. And so if you drove over them, it would have just ripped everything off the bottom of your car. And I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but they shrunk them down to those nice lower ones. And so now you can use them to straighten out your line. Some of the spec Miatas will just drive all the way over them. So when you're following a car really closely here, because the wall is the ending of the straight there, if you're following a car too closely and they are very close to clipping the wall, you could find yourself in a position where you hit the wall or become frighteningly close. So you just have to keep that in mind if you're following a car right on their tail through turn 1. I don't track out all the way. What I want to do is I want to set up for the turn and entry here into B, and then just romp on the throttle and track out. Fourth gear before the turn station. Debris flag is for a little bit of stuff here on the left side of the track leading up to 5A. There you go, you can see right there. Try to brake in a straight line, turn in a little, throttle back to brakes just to dip the nose. You can left foot brake if you want, depending on the car. I don't in this car, I used to in my previous car. And then up the hill. This is the point in the track where I wish I had more torque. Alright, I noticed that the RX is either having issues, but he's staying up top, he's staying predictable, so to me he's letting us by, and he did. So I didn't have a problem sticking with these guys. The red car is concerned about the Civic, so he didn't know how that guy drives his car. So when they went side by side through 9, which is kind of a touchy place to go side by side through, he actually backed off just to make sure that he didn't get collected by somebody who could be doing it wrong. Fortunately, the Civic wasn't doing it wrong, and now we know that. So now we've just learned that we could go side by side through there with him. So now I'm playing with 15 to follow the leader. This is 3A, and we always break down the center of the track. It does a couple things for you there. First of all, it's faster, because if you break down the left side of the track, there's a bump there and it'll upset the car. And you end up wider. You have two hairpins, so the data shows that driving the shortest distance is actually faster. The second thing too, by breaking down the center of the track, if you miss your braking, it's a straight shot to the escape road, and if you don't miss your braking, then you're also on an already defensive line. So it serves a couple benefits by going down the center. Alright, so we have the Mustang here. He must have started at the back or missed qualifying or something like that, but yeah, he's a rocket ship, so he's going to overtake us here. He didn't really push the issue in the back section, which we're thankful of, and he's going to try to overtake the three of us on the straightaway. Yep, 49 was smart to go defensive there and then pin the Mustang between him and 15. I'd have done the same thing. That way he's got a little bit of breathing room. 15 didn't really know how that Mustang was going to go through turn 2, so he had to. Couldn't quite go full commit. He probably did, but I don't know. He's not here to talk about it. Mustang gets 49 here, and then it's back to us three again. Now the BMW behind me, now he wants by, because he just watched, I think one of his competitors go by, and he knows he's faster than us too. And I'm surprised it took him this long to get fast, right? And that happens. So if you're just starting to race, you're just getting into it, you've gone through the novice program. That is one thing to take into consideration is a lot of drivers will kind of start the race not in their fastest mind, and then they'll get faster as the race goes on. Either they have somebody to chase or they're figuring it out. But even racers who've been doing it for a while aren't necessarily fast right when the green flag drops. Take advantage of those racers. Yeah, so he's going to send it. There we go. Yeah, I thought that was a really good move. Excellent late break, deep exercise on his part. Execution was good, and I saw it coming in my mirror, so I knew exactly how it was going to play out, and let it happen. So those run, I think the same. Those E46s are not too different on weight. They have a whole bunch more power than we do, and they're on the same size tire, probably the same tire. I know he's on a 225 Hoosier. I don't know if it's an A7 or R7, and but they're on a wider wheel, so they're utilizing the tire a lot better than we are. Because even though we're on a 225 tire, we have to run a 17x7 wheel. So the Hoosier tire is so wide, we're squeezing it down onto the rim. The B-Spec cars are relatively predictable. Once I see that he picks the right side, I know I could comfortably go down the left. 49 is still a ways up there. 15 is offline because of the T3 BMW. And here we go, we're going to break down the track middle again. Fourth to second on a double clutch. These cars are such a joy to drive. Even when your tires are hot and greasy and it's sliding all over the place, or it's just not doing what you want it to do, you know what? Still a joy to drive. Absolutely love these cars. Now the track here changes pitch. You saw the car dips over. It's because you go from a flat surface to a bowl. And sometimes if you end up where your front tires are falling off and you're oversteering, you can use a little trail braking as it dips into that bowl, and it will pitch the rear, and then you can just get on the gas and drive out of the corner. We used to do that in the front-wheel drive cars all the time. In fact, you would have to in the front-wheel drive cars depending on how they were set up. But yeah, that's one of those things where you can use the change in the surface pitch to help rotate the car. So you notice how I trail brake into there, and I get back on throttle, but I'm modulating it. I could probably trail brake in a little bit deeper so that I can get onto more throttle earlier. So that's definitely one I have to work on. Turn 2 there is a bit of a mistress there at Pacific Raceways for me, but I used to be a lot worse at it, so I'm happy that I'm at least able to keep up with some of these guys in turn 2. The other interesting thing about turn 2 is oftentimes the outside of it is the least amount of grip, and the inside half, sometimes even the inside most right along the fog line, is the grippiest. So sometimes it can be helpful to do a track walk, but depending on where some cars like leave junk on the track, whether they fluids of some type, sometimes you'll go down on a late braking maneuver and stick to the inside and be surprised at how much grip there is. and traffic has been super helpful to me. Look at that, these guys were many car lengths in front of me, and now I'm nipping at them again. So you'll see, as I approach a big braking zone, you'll see my brake, the little brake bar, come on just a little bit, and then I'll get on the brakes. And all I'm doing is I'm just using my left foot to quickly just lightly tap the brake pedal and reset the pads against the rotor, so that way when I go roll onto the brake pedal, I'll have all of my brakes. I wanted to make sure that the V-Spec car, he was really trying to stay on a good line. Clearly they're in a race with each other, they're close together, there's 3 of them. So I just wanted to make sure as I went through there I wasn't too close to, door handle to door handle. I did feel bad though, because by setting tires off, I did sprinkle the car behind me with gravel, and that's never fun, because that's a good way to lose a windshield. Yeah, that Civic's really holding up the 49 right now. So I'm tracked out. They're close enough to each other that it made sense to follow the tail there and stay in the draft, but I'm not. So I decided I'd track out and, maintain my run out of the corner just to maximize. My strongest point on the race here is 3A. You can see what I do to them under braking here. So, I try to make up what I can there without overdoing it or getting into trouble, but since that's my strongest braking zone, I have to keep that in mind, that if I'm going to make something happen on one of my competitors, I'm probably not going to make it happen in 2, since that's not my strongest quarter, but I might be able to take them down the hill and take them into 3A where it is my strongest corner. Alright, so the white car saw that the Civic earlier in the race could go side by side with us safely. So he used the top of the track there to pitch himself, and so he knows that he can go side by side, and so he's not afraid to. So I'm always trying to keep you see my base speed for turn 2 is 70 miles an hour. I'm always trying to keep my base speed at 70 or better. That way I kind of know I've done it as good as I can if I'm at 70 or better. When I'm below 70, I think, there's room. There's room there. Right? It could have been a little better. Alright, so I take a different line through here for setup. I don't like to go from far right to far left. It kind of, I don't want to slosh the fuel tank more than necessary. These guys take a different approach to 5A than I do, but I'm a lot more comfortable with my approach through there, and we're both kind of having the same outcome, so it's one of those, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Alright, it looks like 49 is going to commit here. 15's going for the tail of the Civic, thinking that that's going to be the fast way through there. Civic's thinking, well, should I let him go? Should I let him go here? No, maybe I'll go for it. And he's now making a decision. What do I do? Do I keep racing these guys? They're in a race and I'm not in their class. So as you can see here, he stays far, far right, gets on the brake, stays high, let us go. Now we know what's happening. He's bailed. He's going to let us have our race. Thank you very much. And now we got to get on with it. So now I know that I don't see traffic in front of us. He's out of our way. I now have to stay with these guys. So watch the approach coming up here. So this is the turn 4 turn station, and then up here is turn 5A. Yeah, that was a pretty scary moment, setting tires off there. You want to be careful you're not oversteering when that happens, because you could end up across the track climbing the mountainside. So I want to be close enough out of here. Looks like he got a little squirrely on exit. I want to be close enough here that I can enjoy as much draft as possible. Out of these 3 cars, I think I probably have the least amount of horsepower. And I mean, it's probably only by a few. So you can see what I was talking about grip. I was down low, next to the fog line, inside, and I really didn't give anything away there. And then I can claw a whole bunch back under braking for 3A. Now there's this little guy that we've lapped twice now. The frustrating thing about it is that he comes out of here, he knows that we're coming up. He is like 25 seconds a lap slower than us. It's painful. And instead of letting us go by on the straightaway, he hustles down to 5A so that he can pin us next to him at like the worst corner in the whole track. There we are. So I choose 3rd gear. Number 15 doesn't. He doesn't. He stays in 4th, and to my benefit. That was the difference in the downshift right there. And now watch the red car, watch 15. 4 wheels off in the back. He's now at the point where he's been hustling 49 for so long, and he wanted to get his lead back, that he ended up overdriving his tires. His front tires, we talked with him after the race, his front tires have gone off, and he didn't really have a lot more left in them, so he really pushed that corner and committed, and that was the outcome. So 49 went a little deep on brakes. I get a little bit of run out of the corner, which I'm extremely excited about because I know that I'm strong down the hill here. I've got enough brakes that I can go ahead and commit to the outside. At this point, if he wants to drive out, he's going to hit me, and I know he ain't going to hit me. Now I check my mirrors to make sure we don't have overlap. I'm not going to commit to track exit if we have overlap. I'm not interested in body damage. So when I knew I was clear, I went for it. Now here's the cool part. We're lap 15 into say an 18 lap race. I'm opening my visor to wipe sweat off my brow because I'm just like, oh my god, how the hell am I in the lead? So I'm pretty over the moon right now. And when you race a long race like this and find yourself in the lead, all of a sudden you can be like, all right, don't fuck up. And I have a buddy in the grandstands right there who's on the radios, and I come through turn 9 and he straight up says, this is your race to win. You have the lap time, hit your marks, there's nothing they can do about it. If you drive your best race, there's nothing they can do about it. Bring it home. And I was just like, oh god, I needed to hear that. and I just was like, let's do this. Like it was like confidence level, 150%. Absolutely. Like the perfect thing to say at the perfect time. Even though my base speed through turn 2 is 3 miles off about what I said earlier. So the 49 car behind me, he is best in turn 2. I mean, he is quite a bit better than me through turn 2. We've compared data, obviously compared video, and it's definitely a strong corner for him. So I know that if he's going to make anything happen, that's where he's going to make it happen. Suggesting I don't make a mistake. Yeah, see, a really good run out of 8 there. Right over the fog line. My tires may have been kicking up a little dirt there. That was about as far left as I'm comfortable at getting. So what he's going to want to do up here, though, is he's going to want to sail it in on the left side. So I have to keep that in mind. So I'm going to try to brake as late as I can. And now I see that the B-Spec car is going to stay wide, so I brake across the track. He doesn't have overlap on me, so I can do that. So I can commit to the corner on the inside line. Now, for those of you who are ever driving in a class in which you're a slower car, maybe you're a novice and you're just a slower driver at the moment, or you're in a slower class, pay attention to this Rabbit. The thing I want to point out about this Rabbit, he's actually a pretty quick car in a straight line. What does he do? We're lapping him. He gets it. He doesn't hustle down to the next corner and make us pass him at the apex like that Sprite did. He lets all 3 of us go on the straightaway like a big brain gentleman. So round of applause to that feller. By the way, I would not expect him to do something like that if he were racing a competitor in class. He did that because he has nobody in his class that he's competing with at that moment in time. It did not disadvantage him to do that. Alright, he's going to send it up the inside again. Or he's going to try maybe outside. Look at him breaking into 2. Yeah, and so here I am. I'm at the fog line. I'm as low as possible, and see what I'm saying? It just doesn't hinder me that much. My base speed was only 2 miles and off, but I was also driving a narrower radius. I think we go 19 laps on this race. Yeah, there's one more. So for the other FRS BRZ 86 crowd, the number there in the middle of my dash that's blinking, that's flashing, that's my oil pressure. Ignore the E2, that's a gauge I've recently disconnected. But you can see here, right at shifting at 7,600 RPMs, I'm at 80 PSI. I've only got one little yellow light, so I'm like barely at 215. All right, there's the last lap flag, I believe. So I'm at, I don't know, 215 oil temp. So I've got a 30 weight in for this race weekend. the following weekend after this, I know it's going to be much hotter, so I end up throwing a 40 weight in it because I end up at like 240 temperature average. In this race, I think my average was like 225 or 228, something like that. So it wasn't significant. Okay, so Chris Hart is behind us. He's lapping us. He's the fastest guy in T3. And I'm like, no, 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 you're not. This is the last lap of the race, and I did a lot of work to get here. You can stay behind me for the moment. No need to let him by in 5A at all. So what he's going to do is he's got the run up to 7. I'm going to take a little wider line. It doesn't cost me anything here. I'm not losing any time. And he's going to take me in 8. Now my thought is what I'll do is I've got the right way to get through 8. He's taking the tight line. I'm going to come out as fast as possible. Maybe if I'm lucky. Maybe I'll get a little bit of draft of him. But no, he has such a great exit, and he's got a lot of power in that car. That's it. That's definitely didn't get any draft from that one. But I did get a win. There's the checkered flag. So I definitely appreciate you guys uh, coming to the party and playing along. I hope you were having a single malt scotch while I was. So thank you very much, and I look forward to doing this again. All right, bye now.